Hi. Um, I'm going to tell a couple of stories here, and then it will make a point. The first one involves me. Um, Beth and I have a queen size bed, and sometimes, uh, like if I'm all the way on my side of the bed and she's all the way on her side of the bed, I don't even know if she's in bed or not. I mean, we're not touching at all. And I like snuggling. Um, and sometimes, if I know she's good and asleep, I'm not going to bother her because she needs her rest. But here last week, I decided I'm going to get her to come over and give me snuggles. The way I accomplish that is I notice sometimes when I roll over, the covers follow me. And I realized there was quite a bit of covers on my side. And so I just took a little bit more of those covers. Of course, she gets cold, she comes over. And so I used that situation to draw her over to me. Now, there's a very famous passage in the Bible that kind of makes that same point. This is in Luke chapter 15, starting in verse 11. And he said, it's Jesus, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine I'm trying to turn the page here. Ooh. Okay. Their land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. Now, that's pretty low for a Jew, because they're, at the time, they weren't allowed to touch swine or eat hog or anything. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, How many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of the hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet. And bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found. And they began to be merry. Now, there are several points you can make about this story. Some I won't go into today. But basically, the father gave him what he wanted. That's free will. And he went and did stupid stuff with that money. I'm sure he had parties and stuff. But when the money ran out, so did his friends. But when you have situations, God can use those situations to draw you to Him, just like I drew Beth to me by taking those covers. It's not always the person's fault that they're moving away. Sometimes God can use things that have already happened to draw you to Him. And this is another story involving me that I'm going to tell about right here. My youngest son, some of you know, was born with some serious heart problems. Had holes in his heart. Some of it didn't develop like it's normal. And so he had a surgery, I believe he was 8 months old, that started his path to having surgeries, because he had 2 more. But he was pretty seriously ill, had major problems. And I was at a baby's funeral just before he had his first real major surgery. He was, I believe he was 5 then. And this cemetery had a certain area that was used just for children. And I'm walking around these stones and reading, the date of birth, date of death, and things. And I was thinking, one of these children before long could be my son. And I had a lot of things on my mind. That was the most important one. And I heard a voice. And the voice said, "He's going to be okay." And I don't mean this was a voice like from in here. I mean, it was a voice, just like a person talking to me. And I turned around, and there was no one there. The closest person to me was probably 100 yards away. There's no way in the world I'm going to hear a voice that clear from that far away. I mean, even if somebody screamed, it wouldn't have sounded like that. And as it turned out, yes, he was fine. He had another major surgery when he was a teenager. He now has 3 pretty little girls, I feel sorry for him because just one is enough. And by that I mean it's hard to take care of girls harder than it is for boys. But the point is, God can use things to draw you closer to Him, and that's what drew me closer to God. I was not saved, but after that I was. And when you have things in your life, they aren't put there by God necessarily. They can be, certainly, but sometimes, like this young man here, he made stupid decisions. And sometimes, like my son, it wasn't my doing. It's just one of those things. You can't blame God for bad and give luck credit for good things. You know, everybody's like, boy, you were lucky there. And then the first thing people want to do when things go bad is to blame God. God, why'd you do that to me? Well, He may not have done anything to you. But point is, when God wants you to come to Him, He will put things there or bring things to your attention, just like He did me with Nathan. And you just need to listen. You need to hear that voice, just like I did. It's not always a voice that you can hear like a person talking to you, but it can be something in here getting your attention. And you need to listen, and you need to come closer to God. And just like the Father in this story, He'll come meet you. You just start toward Him, and He'll come meet you. And there'll be a party. There's a party in heaven every time somebody gets saved. I love y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye.